The Sonic Movie Show is a weekly podcast that you could find on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other services like YouTube. Just search for The Sonic Movie Show and give us a like wherever you listen. I never played a Halo game, and even then, me watching that Halo Infinite, I'm like, why do they make it open world? I don't get it.
I'm sick and tired of these open world games.
Yeah,
as president, I promise to get rid of all the open world games.
You open up your fucking map, and it's this like artistic, like low rendition of like the world, and like it's got like pixels and lines and shit, and like cool icons. There's like 40 different types of icons, and then after 3 hours, you forget which icons mean what.
Yeah,
like, oh, I'm gonna hike across this continent just to rip down a poster. Shit, I forgot that's what that icon meant. Whatever.
Video game.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 42 of the Sonic Movie Show, the only show that's about Sonic news, movie news. We actually have something kind of like Sonic news, occasional Sonic movie news. Sometimes we read a Sonic book. My name is Ethan. With me here today is Devin.
All the action is here.
I want that to be the tagline, but at the very end they're like, adventure is what you make of it or something stupid.
Yeah. I'm glad you knew what it was, because honestly that could be a Sonic quote. I don't know.
And it's funny too, because you watched just the trailer itself. I watched the full Xbox game showcase, and there is a lead up to the trailer which has Yuji Naka. I guess we should probably talk about what we're saying. A bunch of different news today, but we're going to be talking at the beginning of this episode about Balan Wonderland.
Wonderworld.
I think it's Wonderworld.
Yeah.
That's such a dumb name. And it's not intercapped either. No. It's just Wonderworld is one thing. Oh, that's so dumb.
It could have been Wonderland. That would have rhymed. Balan Wonderland.
So basically, co-creators of Sonic the Hedgehog work at Square Enix.
Balan?
As of... No, because they say Balan in the trailer. Because I think Balan makes more sense. Co-creators of Sonic, Yuji Naka, and the other guy, I forget his name, I feel bad, left. Well, they had their own independent company.
Naoto Oshima?
Yes, I remember Naoto. I remember that name. They had their own independent company after leaving Sega and Sonic Team after Sonic 2006, which is probably when you would leave if you were the creator of Sonic and you let that game happen. Although apparently it's not completely his fault. It is also on Sega's expectations. They started making their own games. They started making a bunch of random things. There was a game on Wii, Devin. Nintendo Wii. I want to say in like 2010 called Let's Tap. Now this video game came with a bunch of like cardboard, or like not even cardboard, like packing paper material. Like you get your collector's edition to a video game and it's got a paper sleeve around the steelbook. It's one of those types of material.
Okay.
It's this. It comes with these sheets, and they make you make these cardboard boxes to put the Wii remote inside, and then you spend the game.
So it's like Labo, kinda.
No, the gameplay is tapping on the box.
Really?
Yes. It's all these mini games where you're just tapping on the box.
Try this out. Because I
remember seeing this.
I finger tap a lot. I'm one of those people.
Exactly.
I'm a tapper. I'm a tapper when I listen to my music.
Exactly.
You can do it on the Wii.
I know. I always remember seeing that game in Nintendo Power magazine. That's why I think it was 2010, because that was when I had Nintendo Power. Always popping up. I'm like, wow, that'd be so cool to, like, if I had a lot of money, because I'd rather spend $50 on Mario. But they made that game, and they did other things too. I think they made Rodea the Sky Soldier. That was a weird Nintendo Wii game in like 2014. If that shocks you. But they're making a new game now that they're a part of Square Enix proper. They're not contractors. And a week ago, Square put out, like, I don't know if it was a trailer or just an image saying like, oh, we have a new studio called Balan Company, which I've been calling this game Balan Company in my head forever until like I rewatched the trailer.
Bad Company then.
I know. Battlefield Bad Company 2. Mm-hmm. That was a good game. They're making this action game thing, and then they show the trailer and like, oh, it's Mario. It's just
it looks like a
Mario
3D
game.
Puzzle platformer. Thing.
Like there was another game called A Hat in Time that came out in like 2017. It was like, this is a 3D. This is basically a 3D Mario game where you're like you could do all these hats, and seems to be the same thing. Like literally when they start showing gameplay, they showed the white hat dude, which looks like. So I know you're not a super expert on everything Yuji Naka, but during the Sega Saturn there were no Sonic games.
Yeah,
there was no actual Sonic games because creator Yuji Naka started making a different type of game called Nights into Dreams. And the main character was this jester-looking motherfucker. And this fucking Balan Company man looks just like that guy in like a white tuxedo with a big hat on.
I see him there.
Yeah. He's got like green dreads or whatever. I guess that's kind of cool. Anyway, as soon as the gameplay starts and this dude pops up on screen with his white hat, I swear the music starts to sound like Mario Odyssey's music. And then we start seeing worlds that look like Mario Odyssey. And I'm like, hey, I'm all here for it. I'm not going to be a hater.
You ain't a hater.
But that's basically what that game is. Like, I was kind of expecting... This is Square Enix.
It's still coming to PlayStation, though, and all that anyways.
Yeah, it said PS4, PS5, all the Xboxes, all the Steam, PSP, PCs, and then the Nintendo Switch.
So basically everything.
Right, basically everything, yeah. So
isn't it all the Xbox stuff coming to PlayStation? Like, isn't that like with the next gen? Like,
no. Well, I mean, all of the things
or something. I could have sworn I heard that like this past couple of weeks.
Microsoft has been open about saying we would love to put our things on other platforms. They actually had a statement. Phil Spencer said something recently, basically being like, with Project xCloud, you can play games on your smartphones and tablets. We have all of our own games that we make, put also on PC day one. They're on Game Pass. We would love to put them on other platforms, but platform holders... He basically was being nice, saying that they don't really like the rules, or not. Basically, if you think about it, this is how it was explained to me. You subscribe to Xbox Game Pass,
yeah,
and it's like Game Pass Ultimate even, which is $15 a month. However much that is a year, I don't want to do the math. Let's say you pay up front for that full year, and you have all these games, all the Halos, all the whatever, all these awesome games, and it's a great deal. You can play them on your PC, on your Xboxes. Let's say it's on Nintendo Switch and on PlayStation 4. And you're just playing using your subscription, Sony and Nintendo would be like, well, we don't get any money for that because you paid for it already for somewhere else. Why would we want you on there? Exactly. And I think it's already such a low price for what they're offering that I don't feel like Microsoft would want to shorten the money they make off of it too, you know?
Yeah. Like, I mean, the only way like you can justify it if you're like Sony is like, well, people are going to still play a Last of Us or a Spider-Man Miles Morales, and like maybe they'll buy our console, but like if they want to try Halo, whatever, like we have to hope that like our exclusives will be more worthwhile than their service. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Maybe that's like, if that was like, let's say they did let Xbox or Microsoft rather do that service on PlayStation. Like if I have my PS5 and I can do Microsoft Game Pass or xCloud, whatever the hell it's fucking called. They can play like Halo 5 or whatever it is on PS5. I think that'd be cool. But like you said, like from a money standpoint, they're probably like, well, no, we're going to lose business that way. But my argument would be like, if I'm already agreeing to buy your
all
console,
of the games, like exactly what you're saying. It's either, hey, you can buy an Xbox or you can play Halo Infinite and the new Gears and all that stuff, or you can buy a PlayStation and also play those games plus Spider-Man Miles Morales. You know, like that. To me, that sounds like a good
$5 more, and then PlayStation gets that $5 extra. Like that's the only way I can. Maybe they can make a deal out of that. But then who's gonna do that? Like who? Like why would I do that when I can just?
I think a really shitty version of this story is that Halo does come to PlayStation 5. It's a $70 game you buy. And there is no Game Pass on PlayStation. And it's like, hey, if you want to play... I mean, it's like, we're giving you what you want. You can play Halo on PlayStation. But we also then create an environment where our own ecosystem is even better now because it's also free if you have Game Pass already. Why would you go over there? You know what I mean? It's like those PlayStation peasants.
Because I think we all pretty much... I mean, people have talked about it on so many different channels that like the PlayStation's, I think, is going to be around... 500, 450, and they're going to bank on you buying the exclusives, you buying the games.
They want to
in the
make it a
services.
no-brainer. Yeah.
They're gonna get you in with your exclusives. I mean, that's why I'm getting it. You know, like
Right.
of course I want to play Spider-Man Miles Morales. Are you like I'm already so like that's all they could have shown in the PS5 reveal, and I've been like, yeah, okay, I'm there.
Yeah.
Like they didn't even put any other games in there. I was already like, okay, that's my December or whatever.
One more. I remember it's about Microsoft games on other platforms. When Minecraft came to Nintendo Switch, it had already been out on PlayStation 4. And remember, like, Microsoft bought it after it was already out on PlayStation platforms and,
Yeah,
and on phones that weren't made by Microsoft.
that's the only time I
iOS and Android.
played Minecraft was on my iPhone 3 or whatever
Really?
it was. Yeah,
I played it a lot on my PlayStation Vita. And then actually almost tried to platinum it on PlayStation 4 earlier this year, maybe late last year. In any case, when it came to Nintendo Switch, the day it came out also happened to be the launch of like their crossplay thing, where it's like you play on Nintendo Switch with someone on their phone and someone on their Xbox and on their PC and on their Mac all together, and it's like one shared kind of like, it's not, I want to say server bank because it's simplifying it, but like the game gets updated everywhere at once. Everything is all at once.
yeah.
And the only console that didn't have that was the PlayStation version because they refused. This was at the time where they didn't want to do crossplay, but a lot of the talk at the time was like, when you boot up the game on your Nintendo Switch, it makes you sign into Xbox Live because they want to give you achievements and all that stuff, but they make you sign into an Xbox service on Nintendo Switch.
Huh.
Maybe Sony doesn't want to have someone playing. Now it's already crossplay now. It's a part of that thing
Yeah,
on PlayStation now, so I don't know what it's like. But I think the thing is, okay, someone buys Halo and they don't realize that they need Xbox Live to play multiplayer. So on their PlayStation, it boots up saying, no, you need to pay more money. And then now someone's mom is complaining
To
to
Sony.
Sony on the phone, being like, I already gave, and it's not ours, and I'm sorry. You know what I mean? So it's interesting.
Well, that goes back to I personally, I get why they do it, but because everything's getting more and more expensive just on like a production standpoint and server standpoint. I'm on team like we shouldn't have to pay for internet, like to play online. Like I already pay
number
for
one,
internet.
internet is a utility. It should be a public utility.
Yeah,
but
like I already pay Xfinity how much a month to get good speed so I can play with my friends and stream and all that, or watch Netflix without any buffering. Cool, great. But it's kind of annoying, especially for me who like actually never really plays, like at least on console online, like ever.
yeah,
Like I get my free games through PlayStation Plus, but like, do I even play every single one of those? No.
no.
So it's like,
And I think people notice that. So I explained. I think it's explained this to you recently, but like, there's Xbox Live Gold, there's Xbox Game Pass for console,
Yeah.
there's Xbox Game Pass for PC. They're each $10 a month. Combined in Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, it's $15. So you save half off for that. So you can play online and get all those games on your Xbox consoles and your PC. Recently, they announced that come September, Project xCloud, which is their game streaming, is going to be just a part of that bundle as well. It's just a part of that thing. It's not a separate subscription.
Yeah.
It's just if you have Ultimate, you can stream the things through the cloud. During this time, people also noticed that they stopped selling the 1-year subscriptions to Xbox Live Gold. So I wonder if they might phase out
they're pulling
Xbox
an
Live Gold
HBO
and
Max.
you just buy Game Pass.
Yeah, I think it's
'Cause
smart. You just have
That's a
one
better
thing.
deal.
It's like, this is like the whole.
This isn't the 360 days where we can be like, give us $60 to play online, and that's the only thing that you get for that. They added the free games with gold, after PlayStation started doing it, and on PS4 and all that, and they're like, okay, I guess we got to do that too.
Yeah, I don't know.
And now with Game Pass is just 30 times better of a deal.
Yeah, I'm just on team. Like, I guess like the free games are cool, but I'm just on team. Like, I shouldn't have to like. I buy Animal Crossing or something, and I shouldn't have to worry about paying an extra. How much? I know it's only like $15.
It's $20. It's $20 a year for Nintendo, but it is also like, well, whatever.
Yeah, and
I guess I have
But
to
you
pay
say that about
this.
all the services, and then all of a sudden you're paying $500 at the end of the year for your sports network on TV or whatnot, and then you're paying for HBO, paying for Netflix. Now for your PlayStation Plus, your Nintendo, and now your Game Pass. So it's like,
it's the new wars.
Now
obviously.
Twitter is gonna have a paid subscription service or whatever.
Is it?
That's what there was rumors, or the CEO was talking about it. How like they might do something.
If I
like
can
that.
pay to access a version of Twitter that doesn't have Nazis in it.
Oh, it's no Nazis. I was gonna say no ads. I can see them just doing.
I mean,
no
I
ad.
block every sponsored tweet that ever pops up unless it's from like PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. I'll let those come in because I don't want to block PlayStation.
Yeah.
I'm fine with those ads, but like, here's a Sephora ad or whatever. I'm like, you don't know me at all. Internet blocked. You know. I'm pretty sure Amazon keeps getting around it though. I keep getting Amazon ads, but Bland Company. Or Bland Wonder World.
Are you gonna get it?
This is a bad name. I mean,
day one, you get any pre-ordering that shit?
I guess it depends. I'll get it on PlayStation 5 if we get a gameplay kind of hands-on from some outlet that's like, it's fun. This is the best praise that you can give it is it's like Mario, and they don't really have anything negative to say. Then okay, fine.
It looks all right.
I'm not expecting much.
It looks like a family-friendly
just like a couple
game.
shitty kids running around helping sad people become happy. It looks like, like
I mean, some of the characters kind of look Sonic-y, but not at the same time. Like that one kid's hair had the same like style as Sonic's frills or whatever you want to call it.
He kind of reminds me of the Sonic X kid. Yeah.
Or Yu-Gi-Oh. Or Dragon Ball Z.
That's Konami. Yeah, what else were we going to talk about?
Uncharted.
Uncharted, that's right. There is a... Let me do a better segue for that. Just like how everyone's got cool haircuts, Nathan Drake's haircut is also cool.
Is it cool? It's pretty like... like, it's not like amazing, but it's a pretty like basic...
It's the I don't care. I care enough, but I don't actually want to have my hair grown in a way so I can make it cool. I got regular white dude hair, and I'm gonna make it cool. You know what I mean?
I'm also on the go a lot, so it can't be anything too extravagant that like I need to put product in.
My hair has to match the fact that my shirt will never stay completely tucked in.
And we'll have stains on it. It will have stains.
Yeah, so what's his name? Tommy Maguire Jr. over there. Tom Holland tweeted out or Instagrammed out a photo of what looks like the first page of or
was it a chair? I think,
or something.
I think it was a chair. Was
it a chair?
Like the...
It just said, oh, like one of those. This character sits here.
Yeah,
this character. I hate those. Like,
don't hate until you sit. Don't hate until you sit. All right. One day you're gonna sit in one, and it's gonna change your life.
They started filming on the Uncharted movie. Which has gone through just so much
production
changes
hell,
and
pre-production hell.
I mean, at one point, Mark Wahlberg was going to be Nathan Drake. It has been so much time now that he's no longer young enough, and now he's Sully. I'm pretty sure he's casted as Sully.
I can see
now.
Tom Holland, but I just can't see. I can't see him as Sully.
I remember, like, people were like, "How is it?" Nathan Fillion came out with a fan film, which was an Uncharted movie, and it was him. And people were like, I mean, he's old and kind of fat, but like he looks more like him than anyone else in real life.
I'm not like I don't doesn't have to be exactly like him. I can see Tom Holland being a younger Nathan Drake. Like if they're doing this like when they're like in their early 20s, you know what I mean? I think that's fine. But Sully's always looked old in all the games. So like, what does a young Sully look like?
I mean, I guess briefly,
not Wahlberg.
Briefly in Uncharted 3, we see when young Nathan Drake meets Sully, but even then he's like 40. It feels like, you know, he looks the way he is, just his hair isn't white. So
like I think they could have cast someone different for him, but maybe like there's something in the contract where Mark Wahlberg is like, "Nah, I'm getting that money, bro. I'm getting that money, bro. I'm getting it." That's what he's saying.
What do we want from this film?
I guess what Sonic did, which is don't
take itself too seriously.
Have fun with it. Don't be Tomb Raider, because it could easily be. We haven't seen the newest Tomb Raider, but we saw
trailers and
trailers, but we saw Angelina Jolie's. It can't be that. Basically, like it's going to be the same premise. It's going to be this adventurer, maybe getting the ropes. I guess it's going to be like basically like what like Tomb Raider. She's already like established. Like she's done she's gone on plenty of adventures. She knows how to be Tomb Raider, right?
yeah.
In some of the games, you play as early Nathan Drake, and he sometimes when he's jumping around from buildings and stuff, like he's falling when he's younger, but when he's older, yeah, he's making those jumps now. You know what I mean? Like, are you going to have that in it? Like, I'm confused. I need to know more of like what time period is this taking place in? I'm assuming it's going to be.
How is it gonna? Is it assuming? I don't want to say is it canon, but like, is it assuming that the kind of stuff in the games either will happen or has happened or what?
Like, is it taking place between?
I don't want us to just do those games.
Yeah, I'm
totally
like,
those games.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather it be a new story, like just like here's another quest that he went on, and it has to be fun. I just think maybe it's something with his brother. Is his brother going to be in the game? I don't think so, right?
In the movie?
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like the story has been scrapped 5 or 6 times. So yeah. I think as far as what I want to see, I think that the best lesson to have learned from Sonic movie as well as Detective Pikachu is, again, not taking yourself too seriously. And on the other side of that coin, it is okay to make a film that can be a one-off, that isn't if we fuck this up, this franchise is screwed in terms of movies for years. It can be, oh, we fucked up, and then we'll try it again for real this time next time. Like, if the Sonic movie failed commercially, they can make an actual Sonic movie, in quotes, you know what I mean? An actual Sonic movie for real this time, bro.
That's
later.
What like the problem was with Spider-Man. It took like you had Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, and those were great. Besides maybe like the third one, right? And
they were fine.
They were whatever. And later on, like it took another 10 years almost, it felt like, to really. You had the Andrew Garfield ones, and like they kept setting themselves up for more, right? And then I think that's where like they assumed they're like, yep, these are gonna hit, and like
they
didn't, and then it just made it awkward. And then like I was one of those people who was like, Spider-Man Homecoming's coming. I'm like again, like they just hyped me up. Like I was like. I knew like the Andrew Garfield ones weren't great, but like I was like, okay, cool, Sinister Six. I'd like to see that on film, right? And then that never happened. But like now, then I was kind of just like let down, and I'm like, great, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and it's gonna be okay. This young kid, whatever, and like I didn't see it in theaters because I was like, whatever. And then it wasn't until like I watched all the Marvel movies, and I'm like, oh, I missed out on this. But to be fair, I was kind of just like. Keep ruining my favorite superhero.
I forgot that you didn't see that in theaters.
No, I was just kind of like bummed out, being like, Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, and you're just like constantly rebooting. I'm like, just decide, please.
Yeah.
Or just make it, like you said, a standalone thing. Make it a standalone thing and not have any of this overarching, thing going on.
Homecoming had the advantage of being a part of a greater line of films that were consistently hitting positive with audiences and critics and commercially, so it had that windfall behind it. So I don't think they could have made a bad Spider-Man, but if hypothetically it was just like another, like that first Andrew Garfield one where it was just like fine, whatever, at least it's Spider-Man, and at least it looks more modern, people would have gotten sick of that man's shit for a while. Like, I'm tired of hearing how you got your powers, Spidey. So same thing could happen with the Tomb Raider. They're making a sequel to that Tomb Raider movie. If that, and that we never saw the reboot, and I don't think it did very well. I don't think it did critically very well, or
not
in
that
either
I remember.
regards.
Yeah.
If they make a sequel to that movie that is also of that caliber, perceived caliber, because we don't know, they will eventually reboot that again. I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm not that invested, and I'm equally as invested in Tomb Raider as I was with Spider-Man before seeing any of the films. But even then, if I were to jump back in time, I would still rather watch a Spider-Man film over the Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I think, like you said, it can't take itself too seriously, and I think it has to like admit to itself that this is a movie, and like with the plot and stuff, I don't think it needs to be like the Tomb Raider. I think the one we watched, at least it wasn't like, oh, you have to play the games to understand what's happening. You can like same with Sonic. You didn't have to play a Sonic game to understand what that movie was. Like most people know from a brand point of view that Sonic go fast. He blue. He eat chili dog, maybe. Like, maybe you know that.
Sometimes.
But what do people know about Uncharted? Like, if I talk to anybody on the street, what do people know about Uncharted? Maybe Indiana Jones? Like, they think of, like, adventurer.
They might say, oh, he fell out of a plane once, right?
Yeah, like, I think maybe that's what I'm most worried about is, like, they're making this movie, who's their target audience? If they're trying to do what Sonic did, which was get, like, a more of a broad kid family audience, they have to make a family movie. You know what I mean?
I think they will. I think
if they're making an adventure movie
for Tomb Raider, and it's gonna be anyone that's vaguely interested in PG-13 action films in an already superhero saturated marketplace, where you're expecting that.
So in a way, I feel like you have to. It's gonna be tough. I think they're already like have things to fail. Like they already have things that can make them fail. One, like we just said, like there's no real brand recognition to like a general person. Like Uncharted is great. We love Uncharted.
I joked about the half-tucked shirt, but to be honest, his look is probably the most recognizable thing, and it's not even what makes the game interesting, you know?
Yeah. But I'm saying like, for a general person, like who doesn't play it, you can't assume everyone's played Uncharted, you know what I mean? Or even knows what that is. There may be people who lived under a rock and like, but they're like, oh, I like Indiana Jones. Maybe like you have to bring those people in. So how are you going to do that? You have to have great marketing and have an action adventure. But like you said, there's also that worry though, is this going to be another PG-13 action adventure movie? So you have to bend. There's a thin line between making sure you make it basic enough. I put in that in air quotes, but also making it still faithful to what its source material is.
Here is my pitch.
Okay.
So, again, we never saw Tomb Raider, the reboot movie, but I know that movie is based off the Tomb Raider reboot game from 2013. It is based off of that. Her outfit is really based off that. The story about that game starts with like the ship crashes and they're on an explorer and all her friends are missing or whatever. I'm pretty sure that's what the movie's story is about. Maybe it's not the same 100%, but that's basically kind of what they're going for. A realistic, like, I don't know if she knows she's a millionaire or whatever at that point in her life, or if she's just on her expedition or whatever. Serious film. Serious action adventure. Obvious Indiana Jones heritage just in the nature of what the people do. Serious.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that movie failed because it's not funny. What is another wilderness expedition film that came out with a sequel last year
Jumanji.
That is extremely funny?
You're right.
It's Jumanji.
And I like Jumanji.
I think, I thought that first. I didn't see the second one, but I really liked that first movie, and it didn't take itself seriously at all. Now,
and
granted,
it takes place in a video game, and like it has some video game jokes in it, but it's super simple enough to where like
I don't think Uncharted needs to do the we're in a video game.
No.
But
I'm saying like it played on itself. Like if an Uncharted can do that and be like.
My pitch
Fun
is
and
that
playful.
the first, I assume they want to make more than one movie. That's how these things have to work nowadays. Is you make a 10-year plan now for everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's 5 Uncharted movies on our time slot. Untitled. No, I think the first film has to be very funny. I don't want to say a comedy, but the severity of the story is non-existent almost. It doesn't. Okay,
not
he could die on this journey,
but he's not going to die. You know he's not.
You know
what
I mean? Like you really make it not campy, but like just super fun. Super fun. He's cracking jokes. He's having a good time.
Punching
baddies. We're on a thrilling adventure still, where there's peril and risks, but like he's going to make it out the end.
Kind of like
because
like,
then
I'm thinking a lot of MCU movies. Like you can honestly just steal that recipe in a way. I think you could do it.
I think many have tried, but you start off that way, and then if you want to make a serious movie, you can do so in the second one where you tone it down a bit, raise the stakes a bit. You still have the jokes and the one-liners because you've established that character does those things. And you maybe if you want to play around with it, like, hey, bro, now is not the time to fucking talk about my dick or whatever. Like, I'm gonna kill your girlfriend. Something, you know what I mean? Like, they could play around with that kind of stuff. Like, but they can't go super serious the first time. They can't even go half serious. They gotta make a fun fucking flick. The trailer has to be like, I want to see that because it just looks like a good time. I've never heard of Uncharted. Is that the Jeff Gordon Ramsay film or movie series or thing on Disney Plus?
Or they were thinking it's just a brand new thing. You know what I mean? You can't like.
Right.
I say like you don't like you keep the source material close enough to the video game for the people who love the video game who are interested in it to keep them in for that, bring them in for that. But you, like, yeah, like video game movies are starting to become successful. But most of those movies are based off a brand that's already been established. People know what Pokemon is, even if you've never played a Pokemon game. They're like, oh, kids love Pikachu. Cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know what their target... Another reason that movie succeeded is because it knew its target audience and wasn't trying to be something it wasn't. You know what I mean?
And it wasn't trying to be the Pokemon movie.
Yeah.
Neither was Sonic. It wasn't trying to be the Sonic movie.
It was just...
in the sense of like, here's what Sonic is... That's the film. Like, no, we're going to adapt it for a film, which obviously we knew was going to be tough to do verbatim anyway. So they had to be creative and inventive. But even then, like, again, it's a non-starter if it needs to be. Detective Pikachu is... It's
a standalone film. It doesn't...
I don't even think that the title of the film is Pokemon Detective Pikachu. I literally think it's just called Detective Pikachu. I might be wrong here. Pokemon, sure. The word Pokemon is on the poster, but I think the official film's title is just Detective Pikachu. If that movie failed, they can make a Pokemon movie. It does say
Pokemon, and then it has like its logo says Pokemon small, and then it says Detective Pikachu. But Pikachu is definitely the main marketing.
But if you Google like what is the Wikipedia page
Pokemon
called?
Detective Pikachu.
Oh, never mind. But well, anyway, people only called that film Detective Pikachu, not the Pokemon movie. It was Detective Pikachu, and they casted correctly, just like how they casted correctly with Sonic. Even though I'm not a big Jim Carrey fan, they casted correctly there. You know, you have to have a big name, and Tom Holland is a big name. He is very British, but he's able to, I'm sure, pull off
he does
what
Spider-Man
us Americans
great.
know.
So
yeah,
like if there's one like decision out of all this, I'm actually. I don't know if I'm the only one on this, but I'm totally behind Tom Holland. Like, if anyone I think could do a young Nathan Drake, I think Tom Holland would be great because he's just a young kid. He has shown that he's able to do stunts and stuff for Spider-Man. I don't know if he has a stunt double or not, but he just fits the mold as an like a young kid action hero. That I'm like, that's totally fine.
Funny.
And he's funny, and it can be funny.
And he leaks all of his films.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll know the plot before it's even out. He's like, dude, it's great. I'll be like, okay, Tom, thank you.
You know, one aspect of Uncharted that is never said in the games, but apparently is like the explanation of the reasoning. This was said in an interview somewhere by one of the gameplay directors of like Uncharted 3 or 2 or whatever at the time. But Nathan Drake doesn't take all of those bullets. He's not actually getting shot. What it's supposed to represent is his luck, and the more he's getting shot, it's actually near misses, and when it goes to like black and white, that's his luck running out, and he will take an actual hit. So it's not saying, oh, he can get shot 30 times and live. No, he's been shot at 30 times, and this one is going to kill him now. Like, I think that's actually kind of cool.
There's a joke they can make in the movie, just like that, where like, let's say like he's standing.
All the bullets are literally just grazing his skin.
Or like they do an outline of bullets at one point in the movie where like he's standing like in like behind no cover, and he just like a bunch of guys have AKs and they're just shooting, and then he's like, wow, I'm really lucky here, or like some dumb joke like that. Like, that's fun. You know what I mean? Like you said, I think it needs to be action packed from the beginning though. You have to like the movie should start with like him like on
Uncharted 2
on a heist or something, or something like that. Where
he's like hanging from a train at the beginning of the film.
He's jumping off an airplane or something. Or he's on a jet ski and there's people chasing him. Like, it has to be, and he's in like Jamaica. I don't know. Like, give me something like that where it's some cool location. He's run away from bad guys, or he's fighting bad guys, and it has nothing to do with the main plot, but it's just like, hey, this is in case for the people who don't know who this is. This guy's a fun action person.
His first line needs to be a joke.
Yes.
At the expense of someone that's with him or someone that's against him. Or at himself, I guess. Like, one of the first things he says in Uncharted 2 is, I'm sick and tired of climbing this shit, as you're climbing up a train hanging off a side of a cliff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a joke as a way of venting his, there's two things that I want to see in this film. And if we don't get these in the film, I'm not going to say it's a failure. I'm saying it's not living up to the potential that it could have. Number one, every single one of the major characters in the Uncharted games were done by actors that did motion capture. These are actors. In fact, the woman that played Elena has been in shows like Haven. She's been on actual TV before,
Yeah.
But all these people are literally going through the motions. Make them cameos somewhere. I don't even care if he walks into a bar and they're just all at the counter and they don't say anything. I don't care. I want them in the film somewhere. I think that's easy. Nolan North, I'm sure he'll be cheap when he wants to be. He's not super... I get the impression from him that he's not so much about
he could even be a narrator,
being an actor.
He could be.
That would be fucking awesome.
He's
legit.
the narrator.
If they don't want to show him, oh my god, dude, that's perfect.
You know what I mean? Just when I was a kid, it could just start with him immediately. It's like a black screen. It's just
especially if this is supposed to be an earlier time, then the voices are going to change. You can have I forget his name, Richards something, the guy who plays Sully in all the games. He could also be a voice in there too.
He can pop in there as a joke, and halfway through he's like, that's not how it happened. Nathan's telling a part in the story where
he'd lie, he dies or something.
No, he's like, I fought all the bad guys and Sully did nothing, and then Sully's like, no, I saved your ass. You know what I mean? Something like that. Mm-hmm. Make it fun, and maybe that's one way you can hint to the people who play the games. And if people who didn't play the games hear that, they're just like, oh, that's the narrator, and they're funny.
I also want to
Easter
have,
egg in a way.
Yeah. I also want to have, at some point, you can do this once, and maybe only once, because you don't want to be repetitive and get too much wank going on. But at one point in an action fight where it's just him, and there's he's behind cover, and there's all these dudes in the background peeking out, shooting. You know what I mean? And he's doing it. I want the camera pan zoomed all the way back, so it's a super wide shot, and he's not super small, but video game sized. And then it's kind of not static, but we're not being an action camera, just so we can see the whole kind of thing. That Nathan Fillion fan film does that, where it's a cut scene, and then he goes outside, and the letterboxing effect zoom goes away. They kind of move up and out to be oh, it's full TV size, and the camera as it's doing that, the camera is kind of zooming back.
Yeah.
And now you're playing as Nathan Fillion. They do that in the fan film, and it was great. It's very short, and I'm sure that they did a lot of takes to make that work. That's why you do it once in the film.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I agree. I mean, I just right now, just us brainstorming, I'm I hope the people in the writer's room have played the game or but also are people who've worked in cinema before. But to be fair, the Sonic movie was a bunch of people's first real big movie, and they knocked it out of the park. So maybe you want not young people, but new people in the industry, hungry, and who've also played video games in general, you know what I mean, and have seen the mistakes that video game movies have done, we've already seen in a couple of these. So yeah. I'm excited. I'm actually excited. I know a lot of people are kind of oh no, it's been through a lot of production. I'm excited because of what we've gotten lately with Detective Pikachu and Sonic. That I'm the next. We have Monster Hunter at the that was supposed to come out this fall, but I'm sure that's going to be delayed at this point. But
yeah. I mean, theaters are being delayed.
Theaters are being delayed, which we'll go to our next topic in a second here. But I am not like hyped, but like I'm excited, and I trust my boy Tom. I trust my boy Tom to bring it. I believe in Tom. He can't lead me wrong.
And this is another. We talked earlier about PlayStation, Xbox, and the video game side of news, but this movie has been in development for like a decade. I feel like has been by in development. I mean like we have started a contract somewhere and
Script
have been
was written,
but then scrapped and then rewritten and casting and then scrapped and then like it's been talked about for at least a decade. Seriously, at some point within the latter half of that decade, Sony started a movie production. I don't even want to call it a studio because it's not a studio.
It's PlayStation Studios, right?
No, that's their video game things that they started.
I didn't know if they're putting it all
year.
under one label to make it kind of like cool, artsy.
I forget
fartsy.
what they call it, but I think it was PlayStation Cinema, or maybe it was called PlayStation Studios at some point. Although that doesn't make any sense because they never announced that they were making a film studio. Because it looks like they'd still be contracting to random like Bad Company or not Bad Company. Jesus, earlier this episode, Bad Robot, which is a J.J. Abrams company, or the company that made. I almost said a Bad Robot movie again, whatever, with Cloverfield 10 Lane or whatever. But regardless, forget it. It doesn't seem like they're making studios, rather than like, hey, if you want to make a Sony property film or a PlayStation property film, like a God of War movie or whatever, you're coming through our producers and our executives and. We're making sure that everything is succinct to our brand. That this movie started before that, and when they started that, it got just grandfathered in. Oh yes, this is a PlayStation Productions. That's what it was called.
Okay, that makes more sense.
PlayStation Productions. I'm pretty sure they canceled PlayStation Productions because a bunch of the people in PlayStation's executive positions over the past like year and a half left. Some naturally, like Gio Corsi was the head of third party relations. He was the big guy in the hockey jersey that was PlayStation themed. He was the only one that was repping the PlayStation Vita far too late when it deserved to be dead already. He's now at Elphonic making that Predator Hunting Grounds game. Adam Boyes, who is also a part of third party relations, he's at the Dive Kick studio, and they also worked on Street Fighter stuff. Iron Galaxy, I think. He's gone. But then also Sean Layden, who was head of the North American PlayStation period, which was where the center of that company existed, was in North America. So for all intents and purposes, he is as high as you got, besides actual Sony executives at that point.
Yeah.
Randomly, I think maybe about a year ago today, around this time, maybe August, PlayStation tweeted out, we're sorry to say that Sean Layden has decided to leave PlayStation effective immediately. Our hearts go out to him, blah, blah, blah. And then nothing's ever been said since. And then we got the head of the European PlayStation guy, Jim Ryan. He's now in charge of the worldwide PlayStation thing, because Sean Layden was before. And there is an assumption based off of the culture of that company that was PlayStation 4 when that started. The promise and the pitch of that was we were too fucking broad in everything we did, too fucking hubris. This is a box that plays video games. We are a company that's devoted to making video games and making the best place to play video games. And then we started PlayStation Productions, and we're doing these giant conventions in December called PSX, and we're making original program. Remember Powers? It was a TV show you got with PlayStation Plus.
I don't even.
Yeah, no, because it was bad, right? Well, remember the Ratchet and Clank movie, which was terrible?
Yeah. That
came out in 2016. There was that game based off of that movie, which was an okay game. I platinumed it. Platinum number 71 for me. And then they announced, shortly after announcing that movie, they showed a teaser trailer for a Sly Cooper movie, which never happened. Like, they're starting to... I know, right? They made a fourth one of those games on PS3 and no one bought it. The Thieves in Time, I think it was called. They started getting broader and broader and broader again. And I think that was a Sean Layden thing. and Jim Ryan is a no video games thing, and he won in a lot of decisions, and Sean Layden left because all of the stuff he was starting was stopping, essentially. So I think that, to me, unless there's been an official word on PlayStation Productions, that's done. So this Uncharted movie is probably not a part of PlayStation Productions, whatever that meant.
Sony will still be involved, though.
Well, obviously.
But
like,
Sony's also involved in so many things. Sony is you were talking about how PlayStation was being too broad. Sony, I think, is behind.
I mean, they had to sell off their computer division this decade because it made no money. At one point, Sony's official finances, when they had their fiscal meeting or whatever, their investors meeting, PlayStation was the only profitable division of their company, period.
Damn.
Their music label, which was the king of the company in the 90s.
I was gonna say,
when the PlayStation brand was started, some people left their record label to start up this division, PlayStation, and they were being laughed at by their peers for leaving, the kings of Sony, and then PlayStation is now the kings of Sony, you know what I mean? So PlayStation is very important to them. They don't want to fuck it up. I think that the PlayStation Productions had an opportunity to have a Kevin Feige, who is the Marvel lead.
Yeah,
he is the guy. He makes sure he's not
the
actually
architect.
I think he's listed as executive producer, but I don't think he actually touches any film at all. He just makes sure everything is getting the funds they need. They are succinct to what the style of their production house is, even though it's different studios maybe working on them, or different contractors in and out, even though it's all a Marvel Studios thing. PlayStation Productions had the opportunity to be like that, and on the Uncharted movie not being a part of that, let's say it's New Line Cinema, or if it's just Columbia Pictures, which I assume it would be because that's Sony, has the opportunity to not be made bigger than it could be. Oh, we finished with the movie. We don't really have any other kind of sequels planned, and we're kind of slowly moving, and I guess we'll make a sequel, okay.
Yeah.
But if this is part of this big master plan, just like how a PlayStation is ran of we have all of our studios making video games, let's make sure they don't overlap. Let's plan that out. So, okay, 2 a year. Are you almost done with your game? Can you work a little faster? You guys can take your time. You know what I mean? Marvel does it with all their movies, right? That might not happen now with Uncharted or anything else, Sony does. Yeah. So we might only get one movie. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, whoever's making this and whoever's involved, I hope they do a good. I mean, I don't want this to fail either. I want my favorite things to be good. You know what I mean? You don't go in being they should have never made this, so I hope it sucks. I'm not going... I'm if it comes out and they win an Oscar or whatever, cool.
If they even have those anymore.
Yeah, I'll be cool, great. Good job, Tom. I've always believed in you. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, people are most critical of the things they're passionate about, so... But, yeah. I don't know. Speaking about things that we're apparently passionate about, we're passionate about AMC.
Or it's a love-hate relationship at this point.
Half of our episode titles have AMC in the name. But before we move on to this, I have a special surprise for you, Devin.
Okay.
So every few episodes, we do one of these news type, shows or episodes where we... Or at least as of late, it feels like every few. It was kind of supposed to be most of the episodes were news related, but then COVID.
Yeah.
And we talk about random various things in these episodes, and then we review video game movies, and we talk about the cool stuff in those. And we've had 2 video game review episodes up. The distance, by the way, Devin, is 20 episodes almost between those 2.
Really? It feels like it was just yesterday, dude.
We did near was 25 or something.
Really? I think you're right, because I was looking at the YouTube stuff earlier today, and I was like, why is Nier so far back? I could have sworn we just did that, but it has been that.
You know what also has been far back, Devin?
What?
Our fucking Avatar Season 1 episode.
I know.
I finished Season 2.
Trust me, I have it. It's on my list. I literally have a schedule in my head. Once they beat Last of Us, that is priority. That's priority.
Amongst the history of our episodes, one thing was brought up, and it touched us.
What?
It touched us. It touched us.
I'm actually
it touched us. And I have...
Is that what that box is there for? We both have
I have a
webcams
special
now,
guest.
and I see a big box I've been looking at the entire time.
If this isn't what it is, and this is actually a different package, this is going to be disappointing, but... Let's do an audio unboxing here.
Has anyone done an audio unboxing? I think this is the first time thing.
Damn, they went all out with packaging on this one.
If it's something super tiny, that is way too big of a box. This box, by the way, is about the size of like a cat. Is it not it? It's not.
No.
You got me all hyped now.
I mean, I guess it's Uncharted 4 Steelbook.
Hey, that's related. That's
I got
related.
on eBay.
It's related.
Ah, damn it. Well, it said it was delivered, and this thing didn't say it was delivered, so I thought it was going to be this. Well, whatever, never mind. Pretend this was the next week. Actually, you know what? It's probably in my mailbox right now, but I'm not going to go outside and get it. But
That's funny. At least it related. At least it related. It wasn't like...
At least, well, I might as well show you what it looks like, the Steelbook. Because I got that Death Stranding Steelbook, and I'm like,
now you gotta
that's real nice. It needs a friend. Ooh, it's in like a...
It's
like all...
Can
you see it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
flip it over. Yeah. Speaking of not getting what you want,
AMC, we thought was reopening 2 weeks ago, July 15th or whatever it was.
right?
And we were gonna go, and then we were like, probably not. And then it did, like, nothing happened. Like, not like there was no like big like there was an announcement like a week prior, right? But then the day came, and then like there was no like, oh yeah, we're actually just not showing movies. Like nothing. Like there was just nothing. I feel like, and now they announced today, as when we're recording this, July 23rd, that nope, they're reopening in August, boys. All right, don't you worry, we're reopening in August. But it's like you said you're reopening. You didn't announce that you were not reopening. It's just like, just say you're closed indefinitely. Like, just randomly surprise us one day. You know what I mean? Just be like, okay, never mind, we're open now. Like, I don't like this.
Right, and it's every single time we do one of these, I check my AMC app, and I'm like, okay, what's the wild card of lineup launch day movies you got? Because it's different again. I'm not even gonna bother reading them this time, but it's funny that some are like July 31st, which is not August. Some are like August 3rd, but then like Wonder Woman is like August 21st, not the new Wonder Woman, the first one, the 2015 one. As in one that they would have on like as like their opening movie thing.
Yeah.
So they're all over the place. But officially, Tenet was delayed till August 12th, and then now indefinitely again.
Which to me is not a good sign. Like,
no,
for any movies, theaters. You know what I mean? That like either that or maybe Nolan's at this point is just like, you know what? I don't want this movie to come out. I want to get all my money back at least. So I'm going to wait a year. You know what I mean? Like everyone else is doing. So
I'll let all of the streaming services bid and fight over who gets my movie, because this shit ain't going to come out in theaters, I guess. Because that happened with that happened with a Tom Hanks movie. It's on Apple TV Plus. This was made for theaters. Tom Hanks, Titanic-looking film, where he's a sea captain or whatever. Maybe it's a Scully or whatever. He was the cause of all these people's peril, and then he saves them. He's a hero. No, you're not. Is my opinion. Sully was not a hero, but he was drunk. Yeah. So maybe Tenet. I don't know. I feel like Warner Brothers. That is Warner Brothers, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Syncopy is his production company. Or a studio, but would they let it go into Trolls World Tour?
It really depends on how much Trolls World Tour made. I mean, we did see last week that Netflix showed like the amount of streams on some of those movies, and
they're insane.
So it's like, and also we heard that they're putting a lot of money into these movies now, these Netflix originals, and I'm like, we're talking like $200 million. Like that's more than the Sonic movie. that was
It's
in
more
theaters.
than most Marvel movies.
Yeah, so like, 'cause I saw one that was Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling, so I'm like, oh, my two favorite boys in one movie, can't wait. Um, and I think that movie had a budget they said of 200 million, and that's going to be on Netflix.
Right.
That's crazy. If you really think about it, that's crazy and scary. I think like is coronavirus just ending movie theaters now? Like just years earlier? Like I don't think movie theaters will ever go away, but like
I think
as
a
a
lot
business
of TV,
model, like
I don't know. We could be living in Death Stranding soon. I know a lot of TV production companies are like, hey, we might go out of business because of this. Because obviously their revenue share is a lot smaller for them, and the amount of money they put in, therefore the amount of money they can take out is smaller than a film.
then Netflix can buy up these studios.
I know, and it's just make stuff for us. I mean, internet, if, again, we both agree that the internet as in general, not necessarily services, but the internet in general, should be a public utility and therefore free
Yes.
to everyone, right?
Yeah.
At some point, that would need to actually happen if this COVID stuff is like, no, yeah, this is just the way it is. Like, you have to use the internet. You already do, but like, you need to now, you know? They can make mandates where you can't leave your house. How do you get food? You order it online, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, you would, you know,
Oh,
and
we
entertainment
can't,
obviously isn't important, but
like even like just general like corporations, like office buildings, they're paying a lease for no one to be in it. You know what I mean? They're at some point they might just be like, nah, we're just gonna.
oh my god, it broke my heart when No Clip video game documentary production team or whatever, they just bought an office space beginning of this year and moved in. Then COVID happened. And they had to leave.
You can't predict that
then,
shit. Yeah.
And they canceled their lease because they were paying rent on a place they couldn't move to.
I mean, that's,
you know, it sucks.
I mean, like,
and
I know we try not to bring like bad news or like I know we try to stay away from coronavirus, but at the same time we're living in it right now. It's kind of hard not to talk about it, and it is affecting the things that we like movies. I really think like I think we've talked about this plenty of times, but movie theaters are already having trouble getting people into theaters in general because it's too expensive, the ticket's too expensive, or no one's going to buy merchant or food and whatnot, and so like that's why the tickets are more expensive now and everything, and like movies are taking more and more to make, so it's like all of this, and it's just like, and then coronavirus comes and like it's already been going downhill in a way, but like they've been trying to adapt, but now it's just like you don't have no time to adapt now. Like this is it. Like it's like you're putting the AMC's head in a guillotine, and it's like you had time to run away from us, but now we're putting your head in the guillotine. The blade's coming down. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Do you have friends coming to come help you? I don't know.
And
it doesn't sound like
the blade stopped. The blade stopped 3 times on the way down, and you never lifted your head.
Yeah.
So this is also on you, AMC.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and I know I still get notifications from them to like rent a movie, you know, like through their app and stuff. And it's like, I know they couldn't predict it. No one could really predict this pandemic, but like this is forcing a lot of companies, not just in entertainment, but like even my own job, you know, like where they have to make decisions now for the long term because of this pandemic. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is still crazy to me. I'm just so worried that like we're going to lose theaters as we know it. Like this is the end. And like we don't even have a chance to say goodbye either. Like we don't even have a chance to like
I mean, I guess how fitting would it be that the last movie we ever saw in theaters was the one we named a podcast after?
God.
But
I don't want that. I mean, I love Sonic. I like that movie, but I want to see more. I mean, maybe maybe the only thing I thought about is like, why haven't drive-ins, like, why hasn't there been more of those? You can do that. Like, why hasn't AMC like bought land or something and put like big screens?
They don't have the money to buy land.
They don't have money to buy land.
But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
But like, because you can socially distance in a car, you know what I mean? You're not sitting next to people. I don't know. Bring those back. Make it like a cool thing. I don't know.
I'm scrolling through AMC's app's on-demand section. Not a whole lot of films, but again, I don't think we were expecting too much. Some movies, like we saw trailers for, like that Fantasy Island film.
Yeah.
You go to this island, it's that's on here. So apparently it just came out on streaming. But then, speaking about video game movies, Hitman Agent 47 is on here. It costs.
But you can only watch it on your phone. Like, who does? Like, why would I do that?
I mean, I guess you could. I assume you could watch it through the internet browser or whatever version of the AMC's website.
I guess.
You need Invisible Man's on here.
But
Oh,
once
that
again, you're
actually
talking about
did come out in
convenience, or
theaters.
I can pay the same price and watch it on the Amazon app.
Right, on my PlayStation or my Xbox or just my smart TV. Yeah, I mean,
Or HBO has a ton of movies for free that just came out in theaters like 5 months ago. HBO always does a great job of getting like a couple like random movies that were out in theaters. Like
recently.
like I saw Godzilla's on there and I'm like, cool. I forgot that came out actually around when Sonic came out. Like,
yeah.
and that felt like
That
that
was
felt
some-
so long ago, dude.
Dude, I remember those naps like it was yesterday. Wow, that joke didn't land, did it?
I'm just more in like now it's like really like I've thought about it so many times, but like now it's just really hitting me. I'm like, we really like movie theaters might be over, dude. I know we've said it before, but like I'm starting to really believe it. Like I'm starting to like
think
the amount
at
of them is going to drop significantly, 100%.
I think at the very worst case, in this new permanent COVID-19 world, there's only a few. They are, I don't want to say prestige, but like not everyone's getting to go to one of these. It's a few people at a time, and there's heavy COVID-19 restrictions. Maybe you need to prove that you were tested negative recently in order to come in.
But even like
or something, you know.
I'm even saying after this, like let's say even the best case scenario for COVID, like we get a vaccine in January. This is upcoming January. Everyone gets it, and everyone somehow in America believes science.
Will
Never happen. But let's say, I think it'll still be too late. Like I'm saying, like you can't, like they probably can't financially reopen some of these places because I doubt that they're paying. I doubt they have anybody like on standby either. That could be a reason why too that they didn't reopen. It could also just be they don't have enough people to open these theaters. I don't know how many people you need, but
well, a lot of people don't have jobs. That
how many people are
in
applying? Because some people, you can argue that like me being late, like if you get laid off, you're like, okay, there's an opportunity for me to like fully apply to like something better. You know what I mean? I hate using better because I think that every job
understand what
is
you're saying.
meaningful, but
they need to be paid as if they're meaningful.
yes,
Though. That's
yes.
the issue.
But like I'm saying, if
that-
I was a part-time person at a movie theater, which is probably most people at working in a movie theater, and I get laid off, and then like 5 months down the line, they're like, oh, maybe we want to rehire you. I might be like, I'm looking for
know.
full-time at this place, or I finally got my
Or-
dream job at this place.
And this is something I also don't judge, because especially in the world of COVID-19, which is dangerous, and a lot of the easy-to-get jobs require coming into contact with a lot of people,
No, thank you.
sitting on unemployment. That people like, oh, people sit on their ass and they get $600 a month. It's more than I make. Like, well, yeah, your job should pay you more, not
Yeah.
that they should pay someone else less.
I like
you know?
how that's always
never
like,
the way it
that's
is.
like they don't see the real lesson in this is that
I think it comes from people being like, don't discuss your wages at work, because they think that, oh, someone's going to be mad at you, Devin, for making more money than them, which in reality would be, I don't want you to make less. I think I deserve to make something like what you're making. You know what I mean? Not necessarily you drop down to me, I should raise up to you.
yeah, like
Therefore, you know what I mean?
people are,
But
it's
it's
just like that's a selfish
people get
thing.
so
Yeah,
upset
it's-
about unemployment. It's I've never had to go on unemployment, but I understand that it's a pretty, I don't want to say labor intensive, but like
it's a pain in the
you
ass.
really have to try and struggle to keep it that way. You
I
have
applied
to like
when I got fired from my previous job and I moved down to Baltimore and I didn't get it. And like, even if I did get it, even when I was not sure if I got it, they still told me that I need to give them proof that I applied to at least 2 jobs that week, even though wasn't even approved yet for it. just to keep my application in.
Right.
So like,
but maybe you feel in this, let's say you're a movie theater concierge or just worker or whatever there, and you got laid off and you don't have a job. Maybe it's like, well, I could just collect unemployment and stay safe and like not have to work a job that pays so poorly the job becomes miserable. Because you might find fulfillment from a job like that, but if they're not paying you well, then it's a miserable job, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Why would you want to,
so,
and the price can't be next to nothing to start with, But enough about, I guess, this politics stuff. That would be my thing, is how many people would come back. I don't think very many people.
Exactly. And I don't blame them either, because you give them a reason to come back.
You and I talk about how vulnerable we think AMC as a company is, and will they survive, and I feel like we had 3 episodes titled after they're closing for real, or now they're back but they're closing, and imagine being on the inside where you actually kind of know some stuff. Or if you and I worked at Kmart back in the day, and I worked there longer than you did, but even though I knew next to nothing about the company, and you knew next to nothing about the company, you can just see through the culture and the way things are delivered through the pipeline, and how management receives information, and what they receive, and what they tell us on the record. And I don't know how many things that they told me off the record that they know, that they just aren't supposed to tell their employees. You can just tell through that grapevine how vulnerable the company is. And that company folded like fucking butter in an oven.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, even like as a customer, I never shopped at Kmart, because when I think of Kmart, I thought of, that's like the last place I'd want to go. You know what I mean? Like, I'll go to Walmart if I need like cheap shit.
Kmart's big thing really was, I don't want to say in service of, but I don't want to say if it was exploiting or was in service of low-income families that needed back-to-school clothing, because they excelled at cheap school clothes for children.
Which is fair.
Like, uniform wear. Like, to a lot of people, that's what Kmart was. Why are we talking about Kmart? But they had some sort of a market. But we
also could tell though
that company deserved to go down, or at least we could tell that it was on the way down from working there. And imagine you're working at AMC and you're like, well, no, I could see the writing on the wall that all it took was, granted, COVID-19. People argue, by the way, whether or not COVID-19 should be considered an act of God in terms of insurance and stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Right. Let's say you lose your business because of COVID-19, and it's not a thing that you can open up at all, period. And some insurance is like, well, it's not an act of God, sorry.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what is it then?
Yeah.
But
it's insane. I mean, we are living in, I know it's, everyone's saying we're living in unprecedented times. I mean, we are. We didn't no one could have predicted
next century kids are going to be in school. If whatever they're using for history textbooks, I guarantee COVID-19 will be one of the first 3 important things to happen in our current century that will be listed.
Oh, 100%. Unless we get like another pandemic that is like,
it'll be like the Iraq War, gigantic economic collapse, COVID-19.
Yeah. Unless like we get another one in like 5 years that is just not Last of Us level, but like, I'm talking like 1 billion people.
Population
decent. Yeah. Like, I hope not, by the way.
Fucked.
I hope not. But it is scary. It is scary to think about.
Yeah.
Because
it's one of those tough things, because we can't just keep increasing our population indefinitely, because we can't support it. But at the same time, to suggest actions to prevent that is inhumane and immoral.
Thanos.
So
literally
it's tough.
Thanos.
I mean, that's the fantasy version of it. But like, if you look at what China had been doing, limiting children, yeah. But that then obviously creates situations where an non-preferred outcome of your childbirth, and then you get rid of it. That's fucked up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, we didn't realize we were having a girl. Let's throw it away. You know what I mean? Like, just because of that alone is kind of fucked up.
And you're saying all this when you have a BB on your desk.
I have the Death Stranding Collector's Edition BB on my table here. I could have sworn it made noises when you shook it, but this one doesn't.
You're just
so.
you have cabin fever. You're going insane.
Yeah, man. COVID-19.
We went on a little tangent
Want
there.
to read a Sonic book?
We should. Let's end on a good note here. Let's end on a good note.
Every current event episode of the Sonic movie show, aka one that we didn't record ahead of time for a video game review or a movie review, we like to end on reading a page or a chapter, which is usually a couple pages.
Imagine we did a page. One page at a time. We would be here. How many pages are there? How many episodes would that?
142. So, I mean, that's a lot, but it's not a year.
Okay.
Well, no, I guess if we're doing one a week, that is over a year. Never mind.
I was going to say.
We could do them really fast that way, though. We're on chapter 6 of over a dozen.
So we're halfway? A little under half?
16 total chapters plus an epilogue.
Never mind.
Plus an epilogue. We're on chapter 6 of the official novelization of the Sonic
the
the
Hedgehog. So if you have it, you can read along.
Movie.
You can read along.
Wow. And it's actually been a while since we did this.
So we're going to need
because we did a few movies. Essentially, and Devin has all of the pages up for him as well. I actually bought the book, so you can hear it. I will be the narrator, and Devin is all of the voices plus their internal monologues that they have, which, again, for you, Devin, are in italics.
Yes.
At least that is the trend for how they do it.
It might change, I don't know.
I mean... I'm whatever. Are you ready, Devin?
Yeah, I'm trying to I see that the first page is all you, so I'm trying to get it going in my head.
Oh yeah, is it? Tom took the first calm moment he had since the blackout hit last night and used it to plan his escape. Across the kitchen counter, he spread a large map of the western United States with a thick star drawn around San Francisco in red marker. It went well with the poster of the city skyline Maddie had hung in the garage. All he had to do was figure out the quickest highway route, and he'd be on his way to her.
It was...
Man, this wasn't in the movie.
Hold up. Here we go. It was crazy, honey.
He said into the phone as he scanned the map.
The whole town went dark. It was like a sign telling me to get out of Dodge.
Dodge is capitalized. This is a reference to a proper noun. You've obviously heard the phrase "out of Dodge, get out of Dodge."
Yeah,
is Dodge a place?
I guess so.
The Dodge Ram.
I was gonna say it was a truck. Far be it for me to get in the universe's way, but I don't want you driving out here after night, running around Green Hills. Oh wait, this is bad. God damn it. Far be it.
I'm dying to know what your voice sounds like for this.
Right, okay. Far be it for me to get, it's really no difference, in the universe's way. But I don't want you to driving out there after a night, running around Green Hills, making sure no one was hurt.
See, that's the secret this book is trying to tell us, is that Tom isn't married. He has an imaginary wife. That line, came Maddie's voice on the line.
Nah, I wasn't out that late,
he said.
Besides, they mostly wanted me to save the food from spoiling in their fridges. I'm serious, Tom. You can't wait to find a cheap flight in a few days. Or you can wait.
The phone has been disconnected. He doesn't pay for phone. He's talking to a dead line. Sorry, go on.
It'll be fine. I'll take my time,
he said, and traced a path in red.
It'll only take me 2 days. Just me and the open road and not one thought for Green Hills or its paranoid theories or its...
Whomp.
Raccoons!
Tom's eyes lit up as the noise from the garage settled.
They may have made it inside, but they're in for a surprise.
He reached into his duffel bag and pulled out a black tranquilizer gun on loan from the department.
Tom Wachowski, your surprise better not be one of those industrial trank darts. Wait.
Maddie's...
God damn it. I can't read.
Maddie said, reading his mind.
I guess in a way she's doing his voice in her brain. Or his voice in her brain.
Maddie said, reading his mind.
Those animals are just hungry. Also, those darts are for bears. Of course not. This is just a scare tactic. Love you, honey. Bye.
Tom cut the call off with a swipe of his thumb as Maddie protested, but he knew what he was doing. He just had to shoo the critters off, perhaps with a warning shot. Tom crept toward the garage as if he were about to kick the door down to some kind of underworld hideout. That's the kind of thing he'd be doing all day in San Francisco, he was sure.
These raccoons put my partner in the hospital.
He narrated like one of his favorite movies.
But they can't escape justice forever.
I don't think this person should be on the police force if he doesn't take it seriously. This is like the movies, right? But of course, as we know in real life, there is no barred entry. As he pulled the door open slowly, a few more boxes slid off the high shelf, and Tom heard another sound. A tiny voice. Did these things somehow turn on the radio?
Just think of a place, throw the ring. Think of a place, throw the ring.
The high-pitched voice repeated.
Come on, remember what Longclaw said. If they find you, go on the next planet. Even if it's boring and smells weird, the only companions will be mushrooms of some kind.
Tom spun around the corner and leveled the tranquilizer gun on a pile of fallen boxes just below a San Francisco poster.
SFPD! Pending background check.
He cried out.
Pause in the air where I can...
And then the electric blue hedgehog looked up at him and raised his hands. It had hands! And it tried to look innocent.
Meow? Ah!
Tom screamed, and the creature yelled back in kind. Before he knew it, his trigger finger snapped and a dart shot straight into the animal's neck. Damn. It stumbled, its eyes both surprised and suddenly glassy, and it tossed a large golden ring into the air. That's when things got crazy.
You should have said hairy.
The ring... Furry.
Just for the pun.
Animalistic. The ring hung in midair in Tom's garage, a faint glow rising into an array of sparkles. Through the middle of the ring, Tom could see his poster of the San Francisco skyline with the Transamerica building dead center. Then, all of a sudden, it wasn't just a picture, it was more like a window into the height of that tower. Tom reached out his hand to touch the rooftop when the hedgehog finally tipped over and passed out. The ring dropped to the ground. In a second, a brown bag dropped from the animal's paws and slid into the golden window created by the ring. Zam! Why would it make Zam? Tom blinked and the ring was gone. Its vision of the Transamerica building faded, and all that was left was an overgrown, talking forest creature. A blue one at that.
The Blue Devil,
he said, shaking his head.
I owe Crazy Carl an apology, I guess.
He carried the hedgehog into the house and laid it on the couch. While he slept, he doesn't know. While he slept, Tom took out a quill he'd been carrying around all day and slid it into Sonic's spiky scalp. Ew. A perfect fit. Tom wasn't sure if this made him feel safer or twice as crazy as he had ever been. After a while, the hedgehog's heavy breathing lightened, and with a flutter of its eyes, it snapped awake.
Donut Lord?
It said slowly.
It's real. It's really real.
Tom said.
What are you? Why were you hiding in my garage? Are you here to abduct me? What?
Said the hedgehog, standing up.
You abducted me. Okay, that's a fair point. And I'm here because I needed somewhere safe. They came to my home. The last thing I saw was them tearing through my stuff.
The animal's eyes grew as it remembered.
And you're the only person I could think of to turn to. Donut Lord. Why do you keep calling me Donut Lord? Because I've seen you talk to donuts and then eat them and they get out of line. Again, fair. Wait, where are all the mushrooms? Why am I still on Earth? What happened to...
The creature started panicking.
My rings! I lost my rings! Wait, that glowing thing?
Tom asked.
Was that like your mothership? Because I think it just flew off to San Francisco.
The hedgehog stumbled around and fell back to the couch, still groggy from the trank.
You can shorten tranquilizer. Trank. It's funny. They're coming for me. You have to help me, Donut Lord. My legs don't work, and my rings are gone. Please, it's life or death.
That clinched it. Tom had been waiting to hear the phrase life or death his entire life. This was it. A real shot to take action as a cop. Plus, what would Maddie say about a talking animal pleading for its life?
Okay.
Tom said with his sternest action hero expression.
Come with me if you want to live. Dun, dun, dun.
Man, imagine if this movie came out now. We'd have to talk about all this cop stuff a little bit differently.
Yeah.
That was chapter 6 of the book.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Sonic movie show.
I mean, in a way. In a way.
Can we have a novelization?
Of this podcast?
Yeah, I don't know how that would...
I mean...
Someone would have to listen to all of them and write down and then, like, paraphrase it maybe, and...
Because if they make it about the creation of the podcast, that's a documentary. You know, or a biography.
Yeah. So if we're doing a novelization, it would have to be close enough to the episodes, but not exactly.
It would basically be a transcript.
But not a transcript, because that'd be too detailed. It would have to be like... Because it'd have to be describing us in the moment, too. So they have to be describing us behind the mic. You know? So if anyone wants to get work on that, feel free to hit us up and we'll help you.
You can hit us up on Twitter. The show can be reached at Sonic Movie Show. I am Ethan. I'm on Twitter at Ethan Absolutely. Devin is not on Twitter. The show can be followed on... Devin's on Twitter at CURSONA YouTube. See, I get to fuck with you a bit more now that I can see you and you can see me. You already listened to this episode, obviously, so you probably like the podcast position and source that you're on. Feed?
Your feed?
Service? Are you on Spotify? Are you on Apple Podcasts? Are you on Stitcher? Are you on Pocket Cast? Are you on Google Play Music or YouTube?
Is that still around?
Because we're on all those places.
Google Play Music's still around.
I think this is the joke we say every episode.
But I really don't know.
We could check, but I like the
mystery
inside joke of not knowing. We're on all those places. Give us more listens, whatever. You know the drill by now.
Wow, 5 stars.
You already know that we have another podcast series on this very feed that you don't need to go anywhere else for, called The Chronicles of Diesel, a monthly jaunt through Vin Diesel's filmography. August 1st, you will see the beginning of the beginning of his actual career, who he's known as today, with Pitch Black, aka The Chronicles of Riddick Black. And yeah. Next week we'll be talking about a bad movie.
A bad movie. But it's worth it. It's worth not the movie, but the show is going to be worth it. Because we discover something that I never thought we would ever discover. It blows my mind still. And I can't wait to get it in the mail.
Same. See you next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.